What was the one thing that you could say that you were like, wow, I can't believe this just happened?
Not really, because I knew this was coming, and I was expecting this. Like, this was like so I was supposed to catch this, and you know what I'm saying, I was ready to, for it to fall down. Let me catch it. I caught it, I mean, so everything, I'm thankful for everything, and I like everything that's going on.
Jello. Call a Secret Service or some shit.
It's holiday season, bitch.
My chopper hit the folks like he can with me. My chopper stump a bitch. I think he can with Reese. Pull up on your bitch like she begging. Think she's pleased to meet me. This F and watch it skip.
But before we get into the video, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video. As you guys know, on this What Happened 2 series and the Who Really Won series, I tend to get copyrighted a lot, mainly from Universal Music Group, because a lot of the artists that I focus on are signed to them. And as you guys know, they tend to copyright everything and take revenue from every single video. So these sponsorships really help out, and I need you guys to support this sponsor because these guys are amazing. And I don't usually do a lot of sponsorships. If you guys check out my other videos, it's rare that I have a sponsor in it, but this one just made sense because my passions are first music, cars, then gaming. And this is a game, so it made perfect sense. The game is an RPG called Raid Shadow Legends. In the description below, there is links to download this game. It's an app you can install on your phone, whether you have Android or iOS. And the game is completely free, so there's no better price. The game has amazing graphics to start out with. For a mobile game, it feels like I'm playing a console game or a PC game. On top of that, it has insane PvP battles, a very enticing campaign story, which is rare in a lot of these games. So how this game works is this game runs off of characters called champions. And through my gameplay, I'm going to show you guys my champions. The one that I got is Gallic. He's level 18 right now. I have another one called Admonitor. He's level 16, and this one is my favorite because he looks like he just got out of a mental asylum, and I love crazy characters. This guy is insanely strong. I'll show you guys as I'm playing. And I have another one called Crusader level 12. These three are my favorite. And there are a lot of characters you can unlock by collecting shards. How you collect shards is simply by playing the game. The more you play, the more stuff you unlock, like swords, shields. You'll also unlock silver, and you can use this silver to upgrade your swords and your armor. And right now I'm going to take you guys through a quick campaign battle with my own champions. I'm going to show you guys how insanely strong I made these guys. There are 3 rounds you have to go through, and if you make it to the last stage, you get to actually fight the boss. And it's a very user-friendly game. As you guys can see, if you attack the right enemy, you'll be able to take him out in one blow. And what I really love about the game is it's very rewarding. I usually tend to get bored of games very quickly if I don't get to a next level or achieve something, and this game constantly gives you new things to do and constantly rewards you for playing it. And the great thing is you can play Raid both on mobile and your desktop. The game is cross-device, so you can play with the same user and switch between devices if you don't feel like playing on your phone all the time. So go to the links in the description below. These are special links that will give you free 50,000 silver and a free epic champion. These are things that I didn't even get when I started the game. Also, this game is very fun when it comes to multiplayer, so add me. My ID is QuakeGW, just like my Twitter, all my social handles. You can add me on there. We can play together. You can join my clan, or if you want free smoke, you can go ahead and go against me, but you'll more likely lose because I'm just one of the best at everything that I do. So go ahead and check out the game. Links in the description below. Once again, thank you for your patience, and let's get back to the video. What up, guys? Your boy Quake, and I am back with a brand new episode of What Happened 2. On the last episode, I focused on an older artist by the name of Lloyd Banks. A lot of people appreciated that video, but as you guys know, I go from older artists to newer generation of artists. So now I'm focusing on someone that's more geared towards the newer generation. But before we get into that, be sure to follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at QuakeGW. A link is in the description below for both. The artist that I'm going to be talking about is an artist that blew up in 2011 and easily had the rawest energy coming out. You can just feel the energy and the authenticity in his music. It was something that we haven't seen since 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying. The energy around him was something that was scary but entertaining. And because of that authenticity and that raw energy that came from the streets, Everyone was listening to his music, and he had an insane buzz at that time. As you can tell by the video title, I'm talking about Chicago's very own Chief Keef. Chief Keef was someone that we hadn't seen in the internet age of music at all. He was someone on house arrest, recording music videos in his grandma's house, straight raw content with insanely street and grimy music that attracted everyone. Everyone was intrigued with Chief Keef and where the hell he came from. And with all that energy, he managed to become one of the forefathers of hip-hop's newer generation. He is looked at now as a legend in this newer generation. So let's go over his career, how he got into music, his peak, and where he is at now to find out exactly why he is looked at as a legend for this generation.
She say you be stunting, bitch, that's every day. All my money going dope, shit, that's every day. These bitches love salsa, oh, and I know it. Fucking with them old boys, you gon' get fucked over.
Chief Keef was born in August of 1995 in Chicago, Illinois. He lived at the Parkway Garden Homes, but the people that were locally there called it O Block, and we've heard that in his songs numerous times. Nobody knew around that time that Chief Keef wanted to become a rapper. It was upon his mom stumbling on Chief Keef's MySpace page that she found out he wanted to become a rapper. He had posted a few songs on his page, and through those songs, she also found out that Chief Keef was a part of the Black Disciples gang.
MySpace days, everything that he was into would be able to be brought out in words. He learned that he can word things and that music could take away any man. I wish I could get 7 pair of Hollister pants at one time, because these were things that were a big deal.
He wasn't taking music too serious at that time. He ended up using his mom's karaoke machine and tapes to record his songs. Chief Keef's uncle, Big Chief, was an upcoming artist. He was very interested in music. Him and Chief Keef never ended up linking up because, unfortunately, Big Chief ended up passing away before Chief Keef and him could link up and do music, but he did leave something behind that would end up catapulting Chief Keef's career. The thing that he left behind was his relationship with DJ Ken. DJ Ken was someone who immigrated from Japan to America and then ended up in Chicago. While there, he was looking for a place to rent to live in. Big Chief had an apartment that DJ Ken could rent, so that's how they linked up. And then when Big Chief ended up passing away, DJ Ken ended up running into Chief Keef, and that's how they linked up and started doing music. However, before the music popped off, Chief Keef found himself in a lot of trouble. On January 27, 2011, Chief Keef was apprehended on charges of heroin manufacturing and distribution. Although he was a juvenile offender, so was determined that he was a delinquent and then wasn't guilty of his charges, but he ended up serving time under house arrest. Through that house arrest, though, is what caused him to focus strictly on the music. His mom says he was just tired of the street life. She also says that he had a bunch of drug money that somebody ended up stealing. So he was tired of the drug life, lost all of his money that he made, and was on house arrest. So he said, let me go full course on this music and see if it takes me somewhere. With that, him and DJ Ken decided to get in the studio and constantly work. Then on July 9th, 2011, Chief Keef dropped his first official mixtape called The Glory Road. The whole project was produced by DJ Ken. This mixtape itself didn't do much for Chief Keef and his career, although it let people locally know that Chief Keef is now an artist and is making music. Just a couple months later, on October 11th, 2011, Chief Keef would drop his second mixtape called Bang under his own label called Glory Boys Entertainment. This would be the mixtape that would forever change his life. The title track Bang would end up going viral on YouTube, and to this date has over 14 million views. And because of that track going viral, it ended up making Chief Keef a hot name in Chicago, which then ended up having people book him for shows. But before he got big into music, he ended up getting into more legal trouble. In December 2011, he left his grandmother's home holding a coat over his hands in front of his waistband. A policeman stopped him to question the rapper. He dropped the coat, flashed a handgun, and ran away. Officers chased the then 16-year-old, who turned around several times and pointed the gun at them. The policemen discharged their weapons but missed. They caught him and recovered the loaded pistol. Chief Keef was charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault with a firearm on police officers and aggravated unlawful use of a weapon. He was also given a misdemeanor charge for resisting arrest. He was held in the Cook County Juvenile Detention Center until a judge sentenced him to home confinement at his grandmother's house. And because he was on house arrest, this is what caused Chief Keef to start shooting music videos in his house the whole time, so he had to make do with what he had. The thing that Chief Keef didn't know at that time when Bang started blowing up was that he opened the floodgates for Chicago street drill artists to come out and blow up as well. After Chief Keef started blowing up with Bang, the GBE crew members Fredo Santana and Lil Reese started blowing up as well. Then artists outside of the group that were from Chicago started blowing up too, such as Lil Durk, Katie Got Bands, King Louie, Lil Bibby, G Herbo, and many, many more. Then Chicago drill music was officially born. At that time, we had no clue, and Chief Keef was just doing his thing. So he continued it and decided to work on his 3rd mixtape, Back from the Dead. This mixtape was a full collaboration with Chief Keef and the person he met in his neighborhood who produced beats by the name of Young Chop. These two would end up linking up, and then this would be the signature sound for Chief Keef. The mixtape got released on March 14th, 2012, and little did Chief Keef know this mixtape would make him a worldwide star. The specific track, which was number 5, called I Don't Like, featuring Lil Reese, would be his breakout hit single that would make him known worldwide. Not just that, but this whole mixtape in general got very positive reviews and put Chief Keef on the map. From tracks like Every Day to 300 to Winnin' to Sosa to Monster. Basically, this whole mixtape is completely fire, and if you've never heard it and want to get introduced into Chief Keef, this is definitely the project to do it with. With Chief Keef's buzz at an all-time high, the most craziest thing happens. Kanye West in May of 2012 decides to jump on Chief Keef's I Don't Like track and remixes it with his good music artists. He has Pusha T on the track, Big Sean, Jadakiss, which is an insane lineup for a new artist like Chief Keef, and to get a cosign from someone that's from Chicago and is the biggest artist coming out of there. So of course, with that cosign, it made Chief Keef the hottest artist out in hip-hop at that time. In the summer of 2012, there were record labels and artists bidding to get him to sign with them. The first person to offer Chief Keef a deal was Young Jeezy to sign to his label CTE. T.I. wanted him to sign to Grand Hustle. Atlantic Records wanted him to sign, as well as Def Jam Records and Interscope. And ultimately, Chief Keef ended up going with Interscope Records, and he mainly said it's because of Jimmy Iovine, Eminem, the history with Dr. Dre and 50 Cent, and those are the people that he really idolized. So for him to sign there, it just meant more.
I've been talking to a lot of labels, but Interscope, I just noticed that Interscope got people like 50, Eminem, and I just got a sign a deal, publishing deal with Dr. Dre Beats.
The deal was worth $6 million over a 3-album layout, which would mean $2 million per album that he releases. He had an additional $440,000 advance to establish his own record label, Glory Boys Entertainment. So they gave him a deal at Interscope and granted him his own record label, basically the same thing that 50 Cent got when he signed to Interscope back in 2003 with G-Unit. After the deal, the label at Interscope decided to have Chief Keef work on his debut album, immediately because his buzz was at an all-time high, so they decided to push the I Don't Like record as the first single off his debut album when it was originally on the mixtape Back from the Dead. But because of the buzz of the single, they ran with it as the first single. It got pushed and it peaked at number 73 on the Billboard Hot 100, and ultimately it ended up going platinum. In the midst of the label promoting that single, Chief Keef decided to promote his own group, GBE. On May 19, 2012, he released the first compilation mixtape for the GBE crew called For Greater Glory Volume 1. Then, on October 18th, 2012, Chief Keef released the second single called Love Sosa. The song peaked at number 56 on the Billboard Hot 100, making it his highest peak song ever, and it ended up going platinum as well. Mind you, at that time, streaming wasn't really a popular thing. People were still buying singles and albums. I believe if these songs would have came out right now during the streaming era, he would have done way better in terms of charts, because back then they didn't count streams and it wasn't as popular. In the midst of all this happening, Chief Keef was having more legal trouble. On September 5th, 2012, the Chicago Police Department stated Chief Keef was being investigated for a possible connection to the shooting death of fellow rapper and Inglewood resident Lil Jojo. This began after Chief Keef mocked his death on Twitter, which he later claimed was a result of his account being hacked. Lil Jojo had beef with Chief Keef's 300 crew at that time, and he released a diss track, so when he died, Chief Keef tweeted openly laughing about it. Lil Jojo's mother openly maintained that Chief Keef paid to have her son killed. Then on October 17, 2012, Chief Keef found himself in more legal trouble. The Cook County prosecutors asked a judge to remand him to juvenile detention for an alleged parole violation. This was in response to a video interview he held at a shooting range, which included footage of him discharging a firearm. A hearing was set for November 20th, 2012, but ended up getting delayed and moved up to January 15th, 2013. Despite the legal troubles, the label still wanted to promote Chief Keef and get his album out there, so they decided to push the third single, which is called Hate Being Sober, featuring 50 Cent and Wiz Khalifa. This song was released as a single on December 12th, 2012. The song, however, did not chart on the Billboard Hot 100 at all. It charted under the bubbling Hot 100 singles at number 9 and peaked at number 37 on the Hot R&B Hip Hop songs. And around this time is when Chief Keef would start having troubles with his label over at Interscope. He decided not to show up for the music video shoot to this song. The label, 50 Cent, Wiz Khalifa, and everyone had felt this would be his biggest song if he shot a music video to it and promoted it more, but he decided not to show up to the music video. His manager says he missed 2 flights and decided just to cancel it because Chief Keef was not used to setting dates to shoot music videos. He just shot music videos whenever he felt like it, so he missed those dates. Only Wiz Khalifa and 50 Cent showed up for the music video shoot, so there is footage of Wiz Khalifa and 50's part, but it hasn't ever come out. 50 even tweeted at Chief Keef and said, Chief Keef didn't show up to his own video. I never saw anything like this on the first song. It's not funny. Chief Keef didn't sell any records yet. They will pull the plug on him. Regardless, Chief Keef's debut album finally came out. The album was called Finally Rich and was released on December 18th, 2012. The album debuted at number 29 with first week sales of 50,000 copies. And as of July 23rd, 2018, the album has gone gold. In that month of December, he also released a track called They Know with a music video to it. This song, for whatever reason, never landed on the Finally Rich album, but I definitely encourage people to check it out. It's one of my favorite tracks from Chief Keef. In the midst of having his buzz be his highest, on January 15th, after a juvenile court judge ruled that the gun range video that he had in the interview constituted a probation violation, he was sentenced to 2 months in a juvenile detention facility. And regardless of being locked up, he was writing a lot of music while he was doing his time. Then on March 14th, 2013, he finally got released. And when he got released, he automatically started dropping music. Some of the tracks that came out were First Day Out and Now It's Over. These 2 tracks are some of my favorite from Chief Keef, and it seemed like he didn't lose a single step while being locked up. up. He kept releasing random tracks that were off no specific project, and he kept getting hundreds of millions of views. Tracks like Love No Thotties, Macaroni Time, Where He Get It, and That's It. All these tracks generated a huge amount of views and were building up his buzz once again. Some of those tracks are also my favorite from him. On his birthday, August 15th, 2013, he announced that he is going to release the follow-up to his classic Bang mixtape, the mixtape that made him popular in Chicago. He said Bang 2 would come out for his birthday. The hype was really high for this mixtape because of the first one, so people were expecting a lot from it. But when it got released, the reviews for it were fairly negative. Most of the tracks on this project were not memorable at all. The only track I really liked on this project was a song called Hard Way. I felt like he should have pushed that and shot a music video for that. But the reason for a lot of negative reviews is because Chief Keef did not work with Young Chop on this project at all, and him and Young Chop are like peanut butter and jelly. They were making hit after hit when they were making music together, and he didn't work with DJ Ken at all either. And those were the two producers that he worked with on the original project, so it didn't really make sense for him to go out of his way and work with different artists. I know some artists do tend to try different things. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. He should have put all those tracks he released earlier in the year on this project, like Love No Thotties, Macaroni Time, Where He Get It, First Day Out, so on and so forth. If he would have included those tracks with a few new ones, I felt like people would have gave it a better review. Just a couple months later, Chief Keef followed up that mixtape with another one called Almighty So. This mixtape was released on October 12th, 2013, and this was another mixtape that got mostly negative reviews. In the midst of all this, Chief Keef found himself in more legal trouble. On June 17, 2013, he pleaded guilty to speeding because he was speeding in Davenport, Iowa, and had an unlawful number of passengers at that time for his age. He was driving 110 in a 55 miles per hour zone, so he pleaded guilty for speeding, was ordered to pay a $531 fine, served 18 months of probation, and had to complete 60 hours of community service and undergo random drug tests.
No, Northfield.
Thanks for the number, the 110?
Yeah.
That's you, okay?
That's how fast you're going. 110.
Oh, that's a fast car. That's why I bought it.
There you go.
All right,
It works.
Then on October 15, 2013, Chief Keef returned to jail for a 20-day sentence for a probation violation after testing positive for marijuana. But on October 24, 2013, he was released early for good behavior. Then on November 6, 2013, Chief Keef was jailed on another probation violation. Due to his constant probation violations via marijuana or whatever other drug use that he was doing at that time, they decided to take him into rehab. But before he went into rehab, Chief Keef told his fans that his former lean addiction and bad mixing contributed to the lack of quality music on the two projects, Bang 2 and Almighty So. He said in 2014 that he will release his new album and focus more clearly on his music. He then went to rehab but felt like he didn't belong there because all the people that were in that rehab center were complete drug addicts, doing heroin, cocaine, all this other crazy stuff, and Chief Keef was only smoking weed, so he felt like he didn't belong there. So he ended up escaping rehab and recorded a song with his cousin Big Low at the time called Fuck Rehab, and that's when he announced that he's working on his next album, and that would be the first single. He also announced the sequel to Back from the Dead. This would be Back from the Dead 2, and as you guys know, the first Back from the Dead was the mixtape that made him into a worldwide star with the song I Don't Like. But before that mixtape dropped, it was announced that Chief Keef got dropped from Interscope Records in the beginning of October 2014. Chief Keef also confirmed him getting dropped on Twitter. He said, "Laughing because to me, I've been dropped. Motherfuckers ain't helped me pay no motherfucking bills. Ain't shit gonna stop, just gets bigger and bigger. 100% of everything goes to me now. Jimmy, it was cool splitting with you, but you gave up your spot." So what he means by this is that he initially wanted to get dropped as well because he wasn't showing up to shows, concerts that he had. He wasn't releasing the albums that he had planned on time with Interscope. He was just doing a lot of things to try and get dropped himself. He said he didn't like the fact that after he got signed, eventually Jimmy Iovine ended up leaving, as well as Dr. Dre, and eventually 50 Cent ended up leaving. So basically everyone that he originally signed to and for in 2012 ended up leaving. So he said he didn't like that and was actually looking forward to getting dropped.
How do you feel that being dropped from Interscope has changed you to being an independent in a great way?
Drop part I really didn't care about. I was actually working towards that. I mean, I knew the stuff that I was doing would get me dropped. Because I didn't want to be with Interscope, actually. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And then Jimmy left too. I'm like, no, I don't want to be with them. So I was already doing what I do, like going to shows, not coming to their shit, not just know everything. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right.
Then on October 31st, 2014, Chief Keef dropped 2 mixtapes that day. He dropped the sequel, Back from the Dead 2, and then dropped a collab mixtape with Gucci Mane called Big Gucci Sosa. The Back from the Dead 2 mixtape actually received pretty great reviews, and most of it was produced by Chief Keef himself. So now we would get to hear Chief Keef, the artist, and Chief Keef, the producer, and they meshed pretty well. However, the response to the collab mixtape with Gucci Mane wasn't that good. Then just a couple months later, on December 16, 2014, Chief Keef dropped a collab album with producer 12 Million. The project was called Nobody, and on the title track, featuring Kanye West, it showed a side of Chief Keef that most people didn't get, which was more of a vulnerable side, and he talked about his fame battles, all the stuff he's gone through throughout his career. It's something that we normally don't get from Chief Keef, so a lot of people praise this project for that. Chief Keef continued dropping music in 2015, and on February 18th, 2015, he dropped his new mixtape called Sorry for the Wait, and the title of the mixtape was a reference to Lil Wayne's Sorry for the Wait mixtape. The mixtape was received generally well, but it just came and went. Nothing off the project really blew up. Then in March 2015, Chief Keef dropped a song called Earn It and the music video for that track. This track wasn't on any project, but the reason why I'm mentioning it is because it's arguably Chief Keef's last biggest hit on the internet. The song didn't chart anywhere on Billboard, but it ended up becoming a viral meme, and because of that, it got so much views. It's almost at 100 million views on YouTube, which is arguably one of the biggest songs that Chief Keef has when it comes to views and viral sensation. Obviously, Love Sosa's a lot bigger, and I Don't Like, but this song comes easily at number 3. And this track was produced by Young Chop, further proving that Chief Keef and Young Chop just have this great formula together that causes them to make hits. I don't know why they don't work a lot more together and produce more projects together. On top of that, it seems like every Chief Keef song that gets randomly released and not on a project ends up doing a lot better than the ones that are on projects. So with that being said, I feel like Chief Keef is really all over the place when it comes to his music. He really should just focus on one project for at least a year or two and deliver like 10 to 15 quality tracks instead of just releasing a bunch of random stuff, projects every year, and then having like one track blow up out of there. Chief Keef kept the music coming, and on April 1st, 2015, he dropped a collab mixtape with DP Beats called Almighty DP. Then in the summer of 2015, Chief Keef announced that he signed a new record label deal, but this would be an insanely different deal than what most artists were used to. He signed to a billionaire named Alki David and decided to sign to his company Filmon, which produced visuals to stream live TV. It was only a 2-album deal, so Chief Keef announced that his new album would be called Bang 3, the third and final installment to the Bang series, but this would be an actual album and not a mixtape. So the first lead single was called Ain't Missing You, and this was a very vulnerable track for Chief Keef. It was a tribute to his uncle that had passed, Big Glow. This song was something very different, something that we're not used to from Chief Keef. Personally, I really like the track.
I was sitting at home, I was rolling the blunt. I was thinking about you, been dead gone. Got a call from a boy, it's like a cousin is dead. I was like he couldn't have had his head on.
Then on June 16th, 2015, 2 mixtapes came out from Chief Keef's camp. The first one being titled The Leak Volume 1, and the second being titled The Leak Volume 2. These 2 projects were essentially tracks that never made it on actual Chief Keef projects or albums. These are the songs that I mentioned earlier in the video, like Macaroni Time and Now It's Over, all those great tracks that never landed on actual projects. Volume 1 has a track called Who Would Have Thought, and it features Future, and this track is insanely dope. It's one of my favorite Chief Keef tracks that didn't get any push, that just leaked online, and honestly it sounds very unfinished, but I wish Future and Chief Keef would have shot a video for it and would have finished the actual track, because it would have done very well for both of their careers. And then on Volume 2 there's a track called Rider with Wiz Khalifa. That's another song that I felt people slept on, and if that would have had a video and if that would have been pushed, it would have done wonders for Chief Keef's career. So this is what I mean when I mean everything is sloppy in Chief Keef's music. It's just out there. There's a lot of leaks. There's no professionalism when it comes to the music, which sucks because he has a lot of great tracks that are just sprinkled all over the internet. Chief Keef decided in August of 2015 to drop his new album, Bang 3. The album was released into 2 separate parts. The part 1 was released on August 3rd, 2015, and part 2 was released on September 18th, 2015. The project peaked at number 108 on the Billboard 200, and as of now has sold a total of 63,000 copies. But the reviews for the project were very good. A lot of people called it something that was way more lyrical and cleaner than Finally Rich as his second album. The standout tracks to me were Superheroes featuring A$AP Rocky, Facts, I Just Wanna with Mac Miller, Yes, Ain't Missing You, and Bouncing. Also in that month of September 2015, Chief Keef dropped the sequel to the almighty DP project with DP Beats. Then a couple months later, Chief Keef dropped a new project called Finally Rolling 2 on November 14th, 2015. My favorite track on this project is called X, and it was produced by Young Chop. Then in the same month, November 20th, 2015, The Leak Volume 3 came out. Then on December 10th, 2015, Nobody Part 2 came out with 12 million. Because of these releases, Chief Keef started having issues with the Film On music label that signed him. That billionaire mentioned that he kept doing shows without his approval and kept releasing projects without his approval. They had some tension but managed to solve it. Then in 2016, Chief Keef got on Twitter and responded to a fan and announced that he's retired from making music. He said to a fan, "I'm retired, you didn't know. Too many guys sound just like me or saying shit that Almighty would." So in the year 2016, not a single project was released from Chief Keef. He was only featured on Machine Gun Kelly's song, Young Man. Then immediately when 2017 came, on January 1st, he released a 17-track mixtape called 2017, officially announcing his return to music. Then he said he's going to release 3 mixtapes that year and his 3rd official album. So on June 9th, 2017, he dropped a new mixtape called Thoughtbreaker, and this mixtape was mainly catered towards women. The track My Baby had generated over 7 million views on YouTube alone, so I felt like he could have pushed that track a little bit more and potentially put it on his upcoming album. Then on September 2nd, 2017, he released another mixtape. This one was called The W. Then on October 17th, 2017, he dropped another mixtape called Cook Sosa, and this was the first project where Chief Keef wasn't rapping on it. He simply produced the whole project for the artist Cook LaFleur. Then on December 1st, 2017, Chief Keef officially dropped his 3rd studio album, Dedication. The album debuted at number 97 on the Billboard 200. However, we don't have any sales numbers. This did, however, debut higher than Bang 3. None of the singles charted, but the reviews for the album were very positive. Although you have to remember that even though these singles weren't charting and stuff, it's because mainly he was an independent artist. And it's not like when he was signed to Interscope, you have the machine behind you and they can push your album a lot more.
Purpose, got spice like red hot. You need to keep a tail top. Have phone them deliver this to you. Put it in your mailbox.
In 2018, Chief Keef would drop a lot of mixtapes, but he would also find himself in some trouble. In March 2018, The Leak Volume 4 came out and The Leak Volume 5 came out. And then in May of 2018, The Glow Files Part 1 came out, and then The Glow Files Part 2 came out. So within 2 months, 4 new projects from Chief Keef came out. In May 2018, another thing that happened though was that Chief Keef found himself in some trouble with 6ix9ine. It all started by 6ix9ine hanging out with a woman called Cuban Doll, and Tato from GBE also hung out with her. He said he told 6ix9ine to stop hanging out with her and that he kills people, and then this is where the beef escalated. Towards the end of May of 2018, 6ix9ine went on social media on Instagram and called out Lil Reese, Chief Keef, and Tato. 6ix9ine said that if they were real, they would come to New York and pull up on him. Just a day later, Chief Keef pulled up to New York, but what had happened was that he was shot at after he left a building. Then 6ix9ine in the same month denied that he had any involvement in the shooting, and just a couple of weeks later, 6ix9ine took a trip to Chief Keef's city in O Block and said that he's there and calling them out, while Chief Keef and Lil Reese were searching for him in Chicago, and they were on IG Live calling him out. And while in Chicago, 6ix9ine decided to take Chief Keef's baby mama shopping, which then further enticed the whole situation. But the NYPD made it clear that they opened an investigation into the Chief Keef shooting. So pretty much mostly things died down until August of 2018 when 6ix9ine decided to call out Chief Keef once again, but Chief Keef did not entertain it at all. TMZ in November, just weeks before 6ix9ine ended up getting arrested, asked Chief Keef about the situation with 6ix9ine. He completely brushed it off and didn't answer anything because he knew that if he kept talking, the police would look more into him. And as we know now, as time has gone on, it's smart that Chief Keef did not retaliate to 6ix9ine and kept his mouth shut the whole time.
So, question for you. So, Tekashi 6ix9ine in the news again.
We don't talk about that.
Alright, that's fine. Nah, no worries.
You asked me the wrong
Nah, no worries, don't worry.
Got off to it, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I understand you.
While that was going on, Chief Keef kept dropping music, and on July 13, 2018, he dropped a new mixtape called Mansion Music. Then on September 28, 2018, this project was intended to be an album but came out as a mixtape. It's called The Cozart, and this project is something very different for Chief Keef. The production on this project is more pop sounding and more dance-like music, and that was suggested by the billionaire that signed him to the Film On label. So it's something unique and different for Chief Keef, which I like, but the project overall is alright. My favorite track on it is Beans and Magazines. I suggest you guys go check it out if you're going to check out this project. Following this, Chief Keef had announced the 3rd installment to the Back from the Dead series all the way back in 2014, but finally in 2018 he decided to release it. On October 31st, 2018, Back from the Dead 3 was finally released, and this project did not live up to the first one. Obviously, that one's just completely perfect, and the second one, this one was actually one of the worst ones out of the whole series, but I gotta give Chief Keef props for always trying something new in his music. He's not scared to try something new, get out of his boundary, not stay in one box, and actually go for a different sound. Eventually, he's going to run into the right sound and reinvent hip-hop again if he keeps doing this. But the sound for Back from the Dead 3 is definitely not it. Then just a couple months later, The Leak Volume 6 came out on December 6th, 2018. Then in January 2019, The Leak Volume 7 came out. Then in March 2019, Chief Keef did some more experimental music and decided to work with producer Zaytoven. They released a collab album called Glowtoven, and it's actually a pretty good project. My favorite tracks are Batman, Ain't Gonna Happen, and Spy Kid, and the reception was very good. Then on May 31st, 2019, he dropped another project with Zaytoven called Camp Glow Tiggy. This was a project full of leaked tracks that had come out while he was working with Zaytoven. Then on July 25th, 2019, he dropped The Leak Volume 8, another project of leaked tracks. Then on November 8th, 2019, he dropped The Glow Files Part 3. And that's it for all the projects and what Chief Keef has been doing for these past couple of years. He's been very consistent with the music and experimenting with a lot of things, which would cause him to essentially fall off in some people's minds because he's not doing that original sound that he started with. But as an artist, if you stay stagnant and not try new things, you'll eventually fall off anyways. So I'm glad that Chief Keef is trying a bunch of new things. He's going to eventually run into something that's going to be very great and possibly revolutionize the sound of hip hop once again. The only thing I hope that Chief Keef starts to do is focus more on one specific project and not release a bunch of random tracks while he's working on one project. I know that he wants to feed the fans constantly, but it's a messy thing. And then you have the leak series and all this stuff, all these random mixtapes. Fans don't know and they get confused of where to find music and what song belongs to what. Also, I hope Chief Keef and Young Chop end up doing another project together because, like I said earlier in the video, they're like peanut butter and jelly. When they get together, the sound is almost always perfect, and usually it ends up becoming a hit for Chief Keef. Also, I hope he starts to shoot music videos for some of the great tracks that he's released. He has a lot of leaked and random songs that are completely fire that there are no visuals for, that people sleep on. Like the track I mentioned earlier in the video, Who Would Have Thought, featuring Future. That's a track that seems unfinished. I wish he would have finished that, shot a video for it. It would have done wonders for his career. But that's it for this video of what happened to Chief Keef. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think about Chief Keef. Do you guys still listen to his music? What are your favorite tracks from him? And what would you guys like to see Chief Keef do in this new decade? So I hope you guys enjoyed this new episode of What Happened To. If you want to support this channel further, you can do so at patreon.com/diverse mentality. A link in the description below. For just $1 a month or more, you can help support this channel further. Like, comment, share, and definitely subscribe. I do videos like this daily on hip hop news and much more, so definitely subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at QuakeGW. Like us on Facebook, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.